What's up, YouTube? This is MathWiz97, and welcome back to my SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 General Manager mode. We're here in Johnson City, Tennessee for the March 10th edition of Raw, and we're nearing the end. We're coming down to the wire here. Just 3 episodes of Raw to go, and then WrestleMania. Oh boy, we're coming close, but we've got some episodes to go. Right now, we've got Hardcore Holly versus Rey Mysterio in a First Blood match. The standard handicap matchup for guys that I just couldn't figure out what to do with. Well, I mean, I had certain ideas, but there's only so much room on the card after all. So we're getting a rematch this week, this time in a submission match. It's Joey Mercury versus Johnny Nitro. We've got Carlito taking on Triple H. He's got Shawn Michaels in his corner. Kane takes on Mick Foley with The Rock in his corner, so the Demon's Apple working against the odds yet again against D-Generation X and the Rock and Sock Connection. And in the main event, a blockbuster 6-man tag as it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, and John Cena taking on Eddie Guerrero, The Undertaker, and Batista. We've got the Intercontinental Champion on one side, the WWE Champion on the other side. I'm thinking back to 2006 with the world title. But if you wanted to know, I mean, I'm sure you already know what match I'm going to play. It's the big 6-man tag. We got to cover it. I mean, just look at this. Look at all the names involved. I think our 3 biggest rivalries are in this matchup as far as, like, pure popularity goes. Let me just see how this handicap match played out. There we go, good. That was as it should be. But yeah, let's get into this. So I was doing some research, I guess you could call it, for this series. And I noticed the matchup that we're going to have, like our main event for WrestleMania, it's actually really, you could say interesting, maybe poetic in a way, because, well, as you know, John Cena won the number 1 contenders tournament, so he's going to be facing Batista for the WWE Championship. For those of you who have been around on this channel for a little while, if you remember back to last year's WrestleMania for SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, you'll remember that the opening match on that card was John Cena versus Batista in a Raw versus SmackDown steel cage match. So, completely unintentional, but there's a little bit of a storybook. I mean, I don't know how else to refer to it as, but like it's definitely it's got that storybook quality. Whereas, like they kicked off last year's WrestleMania card, they were in the undercard. And now, they're going to be headlining WrestleMania. Well, actually, technically, we won't be because frickin', whatchamacallit, the Boogeyman, I'm trying to repress it in my memory. That's why I'm having a difficult time remembering it. But, yeah, because the Boogeyman won the Rumble for the other show, SmackDown, that's what they're called. I see, I'm just completely... I have successfully repressed most of the memory, and now I'm trying to dig it back up for really no reason other than, I guess, your enjoyment. I have no idea what I'm even saying. Of course, then, in this canon, the Undertaker streak is still alive as well, because we're gonna have the brand versus brand matchups. It's like I was saying in one of the episodes before this, how really, the final episode of Raw is the major climax. That's the case in any GM mode. It's the final episode before WrestleMania. That's where you can wrap up all your storylines, because then at WrestleMania, you've got a bunch of brand versus brand stuff. So that kind of sucks. But that is a thing, that there will be the brand versus brand matchup. So unfortunately, I keep grabbing my partners, dagnabbit. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to conclude a lot of these matches at WrestleMania, but what I could do instead is, well, we've got the Undertaker streak, which is going to be defended, of course. Plus, he was our, if you want to talk about, like, the biggest superstars to represent Raw in this year's series, I mean, you could say Triple H, because he was our first WWE champion. He had it for a good 20 episodes, or was it more like 30? Either way, he held it for a really long time. Then The Undertaker took over. He was the WWE champion, the top dog for quite some time. And then, well, now we've got Batista, who is obviously going to main event WrestleMania. Kurt Angle cannot do much with The Undertaker here. Finally decided to stop throwing him and just hit him with a European uppercut. That worked for him. But then Eddie Guerrero shut that down. So, the Undertaker streak is still alive. That's going to be one of the WrestleMania matches. Then there's, of course, the rematch between John Cena and Batista. A little bit of poetry there. Last year we had Chris Benoit versus Shawn Michaels on the show, and that had a storyline going into it, but there'd be no real reason to do that this time around, because, I mean, like, if I wanted to build up some sort of, we're not gonna get a perfect brand versus brand matchup like Michaels versus Benoit. Just the build up to that was too great, with the Buried Alive match at Survivor Series, and then the Royal Rumble, how that went down. It was just, it's not something I can replicate in a series like this. We haven't had those big story moments. Wait a minute, the Undertaker's got Kurt Angle by the throat, off the top rope, choke slam. The Undertaker down, or takes Angle down. I think Batista hit a Batista bomb, and I completely missed it. And Stone Cold Steve Austin is out of here. Eddie Guerrero's taking shots on the Undertaker right now. I don't know what that's all about. But Stone Cold Steve Austin has been eliminated. We're down to 2-on-3, because this is an elimination tag team matchup, of course. So right now, it's Kurt Angle and John Cena taking on Guerrero, Undertaker, and Batista. And right now, things are not looking too hot for that team. As Kurt Angle, well, Angle got lucky. The referee got in his way. Or maybe that was all part of Angle's grand plan. As look at this, Batista sent off the ropes. Undertaker accidentally got hands on him. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Of course, the Undertaker still has to be a bit bitter about losing that WWE Championship. Wait a minute. Eddie Guerrero's got Kurt Angle by the leg here. Looks like we got dueling submissions right now. Batista's got Cena wrapped up, and Guerrero's got Kurt Angle by the leg here. But that's not going to be enough to put Angle away. However, Guerrero looking for the lasso from El Paso on John Cena. Meanwhile, The Undertaker has got Kurt Angle up. He's got him up there, up on his shoulders, looking for the Tombstone Pile Driver. And it looks like John Cena has just tapped out to the lasso from El Paso. Taker the cover. 2 and 3. This match is over. Well, last week it was John Cena who scored a big upset, or not an upset victory, but a surprising win over the Animal Batista in that exhibition match. But tonight, it is the WWE Champion who stands tall with the man who he could have potentially faced at the pay-per-view, Eddie Guerrero, and of course, the man he defeated for that championship, The Undertaker. Kurt Angle, Cena, and Stone Cold just could not put up enough of a fight to hold them off tonight. A big win for these three. The only problem with the way that WrestleMania is structured is that we have a lot of these guys who want title shots, but the best I can do on a regular episode of Raw is a Fatal 4-Way. I can't do Battle Royals or anything like that. Because I was originally thinking, well, maybe I could stagger a lot of these rivalries and have like a big 6-man Battle Royal or Hell in the Cell for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Can't do that, unfortunately, because you just can't have Battle Royals on a regular episode of Raw. I don't know why. I guess they had to save some matches for pay-per-views. But like, I feel like a Battle Royal is not very high profile. It would have been fine for a regular show, but whatever. Let's simulate the matches. Rey Mysterio defeats Hardcore Holly. Joey Mercury defeats Johnny Nitro again. So I was looking to have like a best of 3 series here, but Nitro just lost again. So that third matchup, Nitro's really gonna have to give it his all. And we had Carlito getting the win over Triple H. Kane getting a win over Mick Foley. The Demon's Apple are coming through tonight in Tennessee. An impressive performance from them, to say the least. So let's take a look how the ratings did. We got some rumors of SmackDown's conspiring against us. But look at that. We still won in the ratings, plus 30,000. It's going to be an abomination, and that fans should not bother wasting their time. The statement backfired. Ha. In your face, SmackDown. Yeah, we do have some expiring contracts. Looks like Gregory Helms is the new Cruiserweight Champion, so Chavo finally dropped that title. And I think he's held for, like, forever. And, yeah, Umaga, we got his contract extended, and we got a 4-star match out of Kane. I'm curious to see how the ratings went. I was not expecting the Demon's Apple to pick up the wins going into this next show. So we had a 3-star, 3-star, 3.5, 3.5, 4-star, and 4-star main event. You know, I was kind of hoping that would be at least like a 4.5, considering all the superstars involved. But for the stipulation, it's fairly weak. I suppose it was just a 6-man tag, so whatever. Trish Stratus defeated Chris Benoit in an ultimate submission match. So that's exciting. And then, of course, there's a Cruiserweight title. They got back-to-back submission matches. What's going on here? Got Jim Neidhart and Lita versus... they defeat Booker T in a handicap match. Bret Hart defeats Shelton Benjamin. Finlay defeats Ric Flair. And Bobby Lashley defeats Hulk Hogan. And they got backstage brawls 2 in a row. It's no wonder we're beating them in the ratings. They're just... even in Manchester, England, they had nothing. They had nothing. Nothing for that crowd. Now they're going to Tennessee. Well, we were just there, so probably going to fall flat again. Then they're going to go to the Isle of Samoa. We already covered that, like, 3 weeks ago. They just don't have a chance. But I know, before I forget this in my mind, I want to save this for the next episode. We're going to have a Fatal 4-Way. Get a way to wrap up these rivalries with a showcase. Well, I mean, technically, all the things I'm going to showcase in the next episode, not the next one, but I'm talking, like, the final episode of Raw. I'm going to be showcasing all the matches, just a way to wrap things up, have a big conclusion, but we want Mysterio, Van Dam, Hardcore Holly, and Umaga in a Fatal 4-Way. Take a look at emails. I know I got contracts expiring. I'm sorry, Eddie. You're going to get your Intercontinental title shot eventually. Obviously, no future for me on this show. Well, I mean, you're not wrong, because we've got a couple episodes left, and then you're not in 2008, buddy. There's nothing. I have nothing for you. So I'm curious, can people get worse than upset? Like, oh yeah, Furious. There is a Furious stage. Okay. Yeah, I've had this happen to me, I think maybe once before, getting someone to a Furious state. Because usually, when they're upset, they'll just jump ship. And I mostly played 2008, where you could never have a full roster, so they would just leave. They'd up and leave whenever they wanted. Furious, though. I don't know if you can get any worse than that, but I can try. I don't think 2 weeks is going to be enough to push that any further. But we can see. We can see how much more we can piss off Kurt Angle. I mean, that's what he gets for betraying us. He's got no future. And I shouldn't have to worry about these guys jumping ship, because I don't think Raw or SmackDown even has a free space on their roster. So I'm also gonna... No, just 5 weeks. I only need 5 weeks. Don't make me sign anyone any longer than that. This is not necessary. And I think once I extend Austin's contract, I think that's everybody. Because then you got 1 week, 2 weeks, and yeah, that'll be fine. So I'm not gonna extend the big shows like I already said, because I don't really have a place for that last spot anymore. I don't even know who's in free agency that'd be worth signing. Roddy Piper, Dusty Rhodes, but like, I don't know what I would do with them for one night. Actually, yeah, it would just be one night. So I don't know. I don't know what to do there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We're not on the next episode yet. Fan support, got a pretty clear lead. Not quite as dominant as we once were, but it's good enough. We got the Hart Foundation up in the #1 spot now, because John Cena, 1 loss, and he drops all the way down to #7. Lovely. I gotta watch that, though, because he has to be in contention for WrestleMania, so I gotta make sure that he gets some wins. We got Guerrero, Mysterio, Austin, Angle, Van Dam moving up the list. Chavo does not have a title. That's the first in several months. As long as I can remember, he's had a championship ever since I traded him back. And there's Mercury at 20, because Nitro, he's gone. Nitro, he's lost too many matches. He's just gone. Carlito moved back up, though, because of that big win. And it looks like Edge has made it into the top 5. DX has fallen out, which is, I mean, for the best. Not like it actually matters at this point. The only person who needs to be in the top 5 is John Cena, because he needs that title shot. Everybody else doesn't really matter where they're at. Kurt Angle, or not, Steve Austin, rather, is down at #9, despite being the Intercontinental Champion. I guess just a couple of losses, not doing a whole lot for him. And this is what we're looking at down at the bottom of the list. So I think that's enough for this episode. I will catch you guys next time, as we've got, what, 2 episodes of Raw left, and then WrestleMania. So be sure to stay tuned for more, and until then, keep on YouTubing.